Well, 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 look who just made my day. Welcome to the channel. And if you're new, go ahead and smash that subscribe button like you're swatting a mosquito. Don't be shy. Tell me where you're watching from. I'm building a global map of awesomeness. Let's roll. They say trust is the foundation of any marriage. For 8 years, I believed that wholeheartedly. I had placed every ounce of faith in Lindsay, in her judgment, in the safety of our children, and in the future we were shaping together. Yet somehow, I now stand among the ruins of the life I thought I knew so well. It didn't collapse in some fiery explosion of shouting matches or overt betrayal. No, it began with a single, seemingly ordinary conversation, one that spiraled out of control and shifted everything beyond recognition. We were lying side by side in bed when Lindsay turned to me, her expression etched with an unsettling blend of nervous excitement and determination that still haunts me. After a brief hesitation, she cleared her throat and spoke carefully. "Tyler," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "the neighbors, Matt and Jessica, asked us to a party this weekend." "Did they now?" I replied distractedly, barely glancing up from my phone. Her pause stretched, and I could sense her deliberation as she weighed her next words. "Yeah, but it's not just any party." That was enough to pull my attention fully toward her. A quiet unease stirred in me. "What kind of party are we talking about?" I asked. Her answer struck me like a sudden brutal blow. "A swingers party." I let out a laugh, expecting her to join in and reveal it as some bizarre joke. But her expression remained deadly serious. My style-rack lurched. "You can't be serious," I said, sitting up abruptly. "Why not?" she shot back quickly. "We're stuck in the same dull routine, Tyler. Don't you think something like this could shake things up?" I stared at her in disbelief, trying to comprehend what she had just said. "Lindsay, listen to yourself. You're actually suggesting that we sleep with other people." She crossed her arms tightly, her frustration surfacing. "It's meaningless, just fun. Matt and Jessica swear it's improved their marriage." "I couldn't care less about Matt and Jessica," I said sharply. "I want no part of this. End of discussion." But it wasn't the end at all. Over the following days, she refused to let it go. She brought it up while I unloaded the dishwasher, while I scrolled my phone, even during TV shows. "Just think about it, Tyler," she urged repeatedly. "One night, that's all I'm asking for." My refusals only seemed to embolden her. By Thursday night, she stopped pretending to compromise altogether. "I'm going," she declared flatly as I finished tucking Emily into bed. Her voice was edged with defiance. I trailed her into the living room, shutting the door behind me. "What did you just say?" "I'm going," she repeated. "Why don't you just come along? It could be fun." "What about Emily and Blake?" I demanded, struggling to keep my temper in check. "We'll get a sitter. It's not a big deal," she said dismissively, brushing past me. "It's a big deal to me." My voice cracked louder than I intended. "You honestly think this insanity will fix anything between us?" "Yes, I do," she snapped, spinning toward me. "You're wound so tight, Tyler. It's just one night. If you weren't so rigid, you'd see it could even help us." "Help us?" I barked a bitter laugh. "You mean I'm supposed to watch you with another man and call that help?" She rolled her eyes dramatically. "You're overreacting." My chest tightened painfully. Every word she spoke felt like a fresh wound. Finally, I said what I'd been holding back all week. "I'm not going, Lindsay. If you do this, we're finished. I'll file for divorce." For a fleeting moment, she looked stunned, but then anger swiftly overtook it. "You'd actually throw away our marriage over one night? That's pathetic." "No," I said coldly. "You're the one throwing it away by even entertaining this." She gave a sharp, bitter laugh and shook her head, like I was the unreasonable one. I didn't respond. The silence was crushing, thick with finality. Divorce, a word I had once refused to even contemplate, now loomed inescapable. It was no longer if, it had become when. The woman glaring back at me barely resembled the Lindsay I married. She felt like a stranger. As I stood there, stunned and hollow, she suddenly broke the silence with a mocking tone. Relax, Tyler. If you're so uptight, I'll record it for you. Then you'll see it's no big deal. Her words froze me solid. You'd what? I asked, disbelief lacing every syllable. I'll record it, she repeated, nonchalant, as though it were the most normal thing in the world. You can watch it later. Maybe you'll even like it. I was struck dumb. Who could say something so vile, so casually? But Blake earthed my shock. Something cold and calculating began to take shape. If she truly went through with this, and even recorded it, it would be irrefutable proof, evidence that no court could dismiss. With that, custody, the house, everything we'd fought over would tip decisively in my favor. I steadied my breath, masking my thoughts behind a facade of calm. Fine, I said evenly. If that's what you want, go ahead. Her eyes narrowed, suspicious. Just like that? No more yelling? No more divorce threats? I shrugged, feigning indifference. If it's really that important to you, I'm not stopping you. Record it if you need to. She studied me for a long, tense moment, then finally nodded. Fine, I'll go. Don't wait up for me, Tyler. I said nothing. As she left, an eerie calm settled over me. Later that night, lying alone in bed, her words echoed relentlessly. Record it all. I couldn't fathom how she could so eagerly dismantle our marriage, treating betrayal like a trivial experiment. But if Lindsay had chosen this path, I would ensure she bore every consequence that came with it. The night of the gathering, Lindsay was practically glowing, caught up in her own excitement. She slid into a sleek black dress that clung to her like a second skin and stepped into a pair of heels that had been gathering dust for years. Without offering me more than a cursory glance, she snatched her purse off the table. I won't be back early, she tossed over her shoulder as she headed for the door. Don't forget your camera, I muttered, the sarcasm barely contained. She shot me a cold, cutting glare, then disappeared through the door without another word. As soon as it clicked shut behind her, I sprang into motion. I called my mother with a vague excuse, asking if she could keep Emily and Blake for the weekend. She didn't push for details, thankfully. Within the hour, I'd packed their things, driven them over, and returned to an empty, silent house. I poured myself a strong drink and sat down, the stillness amplifying every thought I didn't want to have. Rage and betrayal pulsed Blake beneath my skin, but I kept it in check. This wouldn't last forever. Tyler or Roe, everything would become clear. Tyler or Roe, I'd have the truth, and that would be the start of ending things with Lindsay for good. She strolled in the next morning just after 10, acting like she hadn't upended our lives the night before. Her hair was wild, makeup smeared, and her dress looked like it had been slept in. But the way she carried herself reeked of victory, like she'd somehow come out ahead. She tossed her purse onto the kitchen counter, leaned back against it, and gave me a smug smile. Well, she said, one eyebrow raised. I kept my face blank. Well, what? She grinned wider and pulled out her phone. I told you I'd film it, she said, holding it up like a trophy. Nothing scandalous. Proof, like you wanted. Her casual arrogance made my tile rage turn. I said nothing, just took the phone from her hand and turned toward the stairs. Where are the kids? She asked, suddenly looking around. They're at my mom's, I replied, not bothering to look back. Didn't think it'd be good for them to see you come home like this. She blinked, momentarily thrown, then rolled her eyes. God, you're so dramatic. They wouldn't even care. I didn't answer. I climbed the stairs, jaw clenched so hard it ached. Once in the bedroom, I connected her phone to my laptop and started transferring the files. My hands were shaking, dread weighing down my chest. A small part of me still clung to the possibility that I was wrong, that this was just some twisted test or misunderstanding. But with each video I opened, that hope died a little more. Laughter, intimate touches, a complete disregard for everything we'd built. It was all there, all documented. And when the last video ended, I felt hollow. Not just hurt, shattered. What she'd done went far beyond cheating. It was malicious. And still, in the wreckage, a single truth stood out. This marriage couldn't be salvaged. It was over. I saved every file to a secure drive, made sure I had copies, then went downstairs. Lindsay was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone like it was just another lazy Sunday. I handed her the phone without saying a word. She took it, smiling smugly, clearly misreading my silence as resignation. "I hope it was worth it," I said quietly, my voice ice-cold. Her smile faded. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You'll understand soon enough," I replied. I turned and walked to the kitchen, poured myself another drink, and sat down at the table, staring at nothing. My mind was already ahead, planning. The next day, I'd contact a lawyer. It was time to take back control. By the next morning, I had made the call. Within days, I was sitting in an attorney's office, reviewing my options and filing the papers. Ironically, the same videos Lindsay had flaunted turned out to be the evidence I needed, solid leverage for custody and financial security. Lindsay didn't take it seriously at first. "This is ridiculous, Tyler," she scoffed when I handed her the documents. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. Just give it a few days." "No," I said, my tone final. "This is me moving forward." The kids were still at my mom's, so I packed a bag and joined them. It was the only place that felt safe, but Lindsay wasn't ready to let go. First came the dismissive comments, then the late-night calls, emotional, pleading. One evening, she even turned up at my mom's house, tears running down her face, asking to see Emily and Blake. "Tyler, please," she said, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought I could fix it." "You ended it the night you walked out," I said, blocking the door. "Go home." The divorce turned nasty, just as I'd expected. But the evidence sealed the outcome. Lindsay's attorney tried to spin it as consensual, claiming we'd agreed on the party. My lawyer cut that argument down immediately. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. I was granted full custody of our children, and Lindsay walked away with far less than she'd anticipated. Once it was over, I moved into a modest apartment. It wasn't impressive, but it was mine. A fresh beginning. Lindsay remained in the house, though without us, it was just an empty shell of what it had once been. Months passed. Then one day, I ran into Matt, our former neighbor and host of the infamous party, while picking up groceries. He looked uneasy, barely meeting my eyes. We exchanged strained pleasantries before he finally spoke. "I didn't think Lindsay would take it that far," he said, shifting uncomfortably. "What are you talking about?" I asked, narrowing my gaze. "It wasn't just one guy," he confessed. "There were 3. I thought you should know. I'm sorry, man." I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked out, head spinning. I thought I had known the extent of her betrayal. I hadn't. Now, looking back, I'm glad I discovered who she really was before losing more of my life to her lies. Rebuilding was painful, but I did it, for myself and for the kids. As for Lindsay, last I heard she was still living in our old neighborhood, but the circle of people who once surrounded her, it's all but vanished. Turns out, sleeping with half the guest list doesn't win you many lifelong friends.